Hi everyone, this is Paris Debono of the Fortune Teller Shop. And today I'm going to share some stories and ideas about skeptics. I always have my doubts when people tell me that they are skeptics. So I've been a professional, what I call fortune teller, since 1990. And in that time, I've met a lot of people who say they are skeptics. Lots. I have a fortune telling shop and I get to see the public every day outside my window. Most people walk by and look at the shop and say the fortune teller. I mean, I hear that about 1,000 times a day. Some people have snide remarks. Some people say it's bullshit. Some people say it's not true. I've heard every comment, and I've also heard good comments too, like people say it's amazing and all the rest of it. Occasionally I get someone that comes inside and challenges me, and I want to tell you about an example that happened about 2 weeks ago. Two guys came into my shop and they were looking around, and I said, "Can I help you?" And one of them said, "Oh, this is all bullshit. It's not true." And I normally just ignore people like that because I just don't have the time to really try to convert every single person. But this day I was kind of feeling adventurous, and I said to him, "Oh, okay, and have you ever had a fortune telling reading?" He said he couldn't remember. He said he might have had one when he was in his younger days, but he doesn't remember. And I said, "So you're basing it on what knowledge that it's not true?" He turned around and he said, if I do him a reading and it's accurate, he'll give me $400. So I was like, okay. I said, all right, let's do it. I said, let's shake on that. So I said to him, just to be clear, if I do you an accurate reading, you're going to give me $400. And he said, yes. So I said, okay, we have a deal, man to man. We've shaken on it, it's done. So we sat down, I shuffled the cards, and I told him to pull 3 cards out. The first card he pulled was Venus, the goddess of love. So I said to him, "You're thinking about your love life right now?" He just looked at me with a puzzled look on his face. I said, "Pull the next card," and he got Saturn. And I said, "Well, it looks like your love life is over. It looks like you've ended something." Because Venus is the goddess of love, but Saturn represents endings and things dying away and decaying. Saturn is the god of spring cleaning and letting go. The third card that he pulled was Apollo, the god of the sun. Now in mythology, Apollo was very much self-centered and self-focused. He was represented as a young, beautiful youth, and he was very much about his own ego. And Apollo was never married, although he chased a lot of nymphs and goddesses. He used to burn them often. His love life was quite tragic, and he was very egocentric. And so I said to this person, this client, I said, now you're focusing on yourself, and you're actually rebelling against love, and you're actually fighting against any form of relationship, and you just want to be focused on yourself. I said, you also have to watch your ego because of the card Apollo. And he didn't respond. And I said, does that make sense to you? And he didn't respond. So I turned to his friend and I said, does that make sense to you? And his friend nodded yes. His friend nodded yes. Okay. Then the guy said to me, but I could have just guessed all of that. So then I said, okay, well, let's pull out 2 more cards and see what the cards want to tell you. And he pulled out Jupiter. Now, Jupiter usually means travel and adventure. So I said to him, you're about to go overseas, and Jupiter often means far away. Mercury usually means short distance, but Jupiter is long distance. And then the next card he got was Gaia, the mother goddess. And I said, you're going to travel far away to go and visit your family, and especially your mother. Now, by this point, he was as white as a sheet. He'd turned white like he'd seen a ghost. And his friend that was with him also was the same. Kind of like shell-shocked of what I just said. Now, I basically said simple things. I mean, this is like a very basic reading. And then I said to him, was I accurate? And he said, yes. The backstory is that he just had a messy divorce a few months back. He's kind of doesn't trust women. That's the Apollo. So the messy divorce was kind of Venus-Saturn ending, sad ending. Apollo is a bit like ego. And then he's deciding to go from Australia to fly over to Europe to hang out with his family and visit his mother. So I just made $400, just like that. Very easy. Perhaps I should invite more skeptics into my shop every day. Now, I ended up doing him a full reading as well, so he got his money's worth. Another example that I experienced from someone who said that they were a skeptic was I was booked to do party readings, tarot readings at a party. So this was an event, and it was for a brand of clothing, if I remember correctly. And they wanted a fortune teller, so they called me, they booked me, and I turned up at the event. And the idea is that I do 5-minute readings for the participants there, and they get to ask me a question about something. So they could ask about their career or their love life. Now, because it was 5 minutes, it usually is beneficial if they just had a question prepared. So I got started, I set up the table, and I started doing readings for the participants, the people at the party, and it was quite pleasant. I got through about 5 or 6 people, and then I had a young guy come sit down, and I said, what would you like to know? We're doing short readings today. And he said he's a skeptic. And I was like, okay. So I said to him, is there an area of your life or a question that you have? He said no, he just wants a reading. And he said if I was a true psychic, I would have already known that. Okay. So here I am at a party that I've been booked to do readings at for the participants and the guests. And I'm having this skeptic. Okay, so normally I would probably turn this person away, or this person probably wouldn't even come into my shop. But here I am, so I have to perform. So I said to him, pull out 2 cards. And he pulled out the House and the Rider card. And I said to him, you've just moved house, because the house is pretty literal and the rider means going on a journey. So I interpreted that as he's moved house. And he said to me, how did you know that? And I said, because I'm reading your cards. It's pretty obvious. If you look at the cards, you can even read them yourself. So he said, oh, that was a good guess. He said, do it again, do something else. So I said, okay, pull out 2 more cards. And this time he pulled out the Heart and the Scythe. And I simply said, looks like you've had a breakup in a relationship, and it looked quite painful. And he just said, oh, well, that's just a guess. And I said, gee, I must be a good guesser. And then he said, well, tell me something else. And I said, all right, let's pull out 3 more cards. Now, I knew his 5 minutes was up, so I thought, okay, I could get through this. This time he pulled out Tower, Key, and Sun. And I said to him, you've just had a promotion at work. The Tower card represents work and a company. The Key represents a new door opening, and the Sun represents an opportunity or something good. And then he said, yeah, but you're just interpreting the cards. And I said, yeah, that's what I do. I'm a fortune teller. That's what I do. So I'm sure in this world there are some genuine skeptics, but I keep meeting the fake skeptics. So I really need a skeptic to prove something to me. This is Paris Debono of the Fortune Teller Shop.